Hello and welcome to my live interview today for Victorious Souls podcast. Today I have a woman named Jenny Toh. She's coming to us live from Singapore. It is nighttime by her and morning by me. What time is it by you? And today Jenny is going to share with us her story. She is a courageous woman. I am calling her that because she followed her passion when the world was shutting down during the pandemic. When everything was shutting down, that's when she courageously forged into her passion of coaching. And she had to overcome her own internal obstacles so that she could serve the women that she felt called to. So I can't wait for her to share her story with you. I'm going to bring her in here right now for you to meet her. And for those of you who don't know me, I am Danielle Burnock from danielleburnock.com. Love yourself from Survive to Thrive, that lady on the internet who loves you. And so today I have with me Jenny Toh live from Singapore. So thank you, Jenny, for being with me today and sharing your story. I was telling the people that you're a courageous woman who stepped out into your passion when the world was shutting down. But before
Hi,
that,
Daniel.
so thank you for being with us today.
Hi, Daniel. Thanks for having me. So I missed the introduction, but I believe all good things are said.
Oh, yes, all good things,
Okay.
all good things. I was telling them how courageous you are and that you're live from Singapore and it's night by
Yes.
you and morning by me. And
Yes,
you
that's
stepped into
correct.
your passion when the world was shutting down. But before we get into that, why don't you share a little bit of who is Jenny before all of that?
Okay, sure. Well, Daniel, as we were talking before this recording, coaching is not my first career. So my first career is in law. I am a practicing lawyer. I still do some legal consulting work on the side. And what I tell people is that lawyering stimulates the intellectual part of me, and I still enjoy it. Maybe minus the stress because it tends to be quite a stressful profession. Yeah. And how I went into coaching is more of my personal passion, and we'll definitely get into it. And I believe that it's also my calling at this point of time in my life. Yeah. So that's the professional side. On the personal side, I've been married for 19 years now, and I met my husband when we were both at university in the UK. He's not a lawyer, he's another profession, but we met at uni. And now I have three kids. I have a teenage son,
Ooh,
very challenging there, and I've got two lovely daughters. One's about to enter the teenage years as well, so you call her a tween, right, or a
right.
pre-teenager. And I got a 10-year-old girl, yeah, who's my baby, but she's 10. So yeah, so that's a bit about me.
Wow, that's awesome. 10. My granddaughter is one of my granddaughters is turning 10 tomorrow.
Wow, you don't look like a grandmother. That
Well,
is
I am.
amazing.
I'm 63.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Yes,
Thank you.
10 is a nice age. They're coming into their own personality
Mhm.
and they're discovering things for themselves. Actually, all three kids are very different. And I find, yeah, I think parenting is one of the most difficult things because despite how many books you read, your child is different. Yeah.
Right. And they're all different from each other. You think you got it down with one, and then the next one, wait a
No,
minute, you're not doing the same. Wait, I don't know how to do this
yes, you're
anymore.
not like your brother. I actually you shouldn't be comparing one child with the other, but I do have tendency sometimes to say that, hey, that's not how your brother does things, or that's not how your sister does things.
I think that's just part of our humanity, and we have to catch ourselves. So, and then we
Yes.
need coaches like you, right? And like me
Oh,
to help
coaches can
people.
never coach their own children. That it's
No,
definitely a
as
very
parents, we
different
can
ball
we
game.
can get a
Yes.
coach, hire a coach
Yes.
to help us. That's what I meant.
Yes. Yeah. Sure. Understand.
So, what
Understand.
is it that led you into coaching? What made that change? You were doing all the lawyering and all of that, and you said it was a passion. Well, what what made you like cross the line to go for it?
Actually, it took me a good number of years. So I was first exposed to coaching in an organization that I was working for as a mid-level manager. They gave us a coaching course to help us to become better managers. And I thought, oh, okay, that's quite interesting because I'm naturally very good at listening and I'm empathetic. Sometimes a bit too empathetic because I take on other people's problems as though they were my own. It was a trait of mine, ever since I was young. When my friends went through problems, problems, I felt that it was my problem, and I always wanted to help them come out of it. So that was when I was first bitten by the coaching bug. I pushed it aside though, because Daniel, I have a full-time job. And at that point of time, let me see, how many kids did I have? Oh yeah, I have 3 kids already at that time as well. Yeah. And they were young. So, life was busy, life was full. So I pushed it away. However, over the years, I just felt that something was missing. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not doing something I'm meant to do. So I'm a believer, just like you, and I've prayed about it, and I asked God, this can't be happening, right? This is just a whim and fancy. Why rock the boat so much? However, it came a point in 2018. I told my husband I can't keep putting it away because it's just so strong now. Every time I think about coaching, about reaching out to people, helping them, and I pushed it away, it just makes me feel very sad. And I was thinking, what's going on here? So we talked about it, we prayed, and it was in 2019 that I decided to do some research on how to train as a coach. So Danielle, there's a lot of coaching courses out there that says, oh, you pay $14.99 and then you become a coach. And I trained, I mean, as a lawyer, I went through so many hoops to get professionally qualified. It just seems a bit odd that I'm changing into a profession that's not regulated. So I took pains to find out, how do I properly train as a coach. So there are many bodies that regulate coaching. It's not uniform yet. So I chose one that's called International Coaching Federation. It's a non-profit global organization, and they don't train coaches, but the schools that provide courses are accredited by them. So I chose a school in Australia. It was virtual at that time before the pandemic, and I was very old school. I studied in a university in classes, and to do coaching virtually, that took a big leap of faith. But eventually, I decided, okay, this is what I want to do. So I went for it. So I did lessons um, in the mornings and my nighttime, trying to squeeze sometimes a lunchtime lesson as well while I was still working and being with my family. I'm very grateful for the support of my family who
Oh,
helped
yeah.
me through this time, because my girls needed to understand that mom had to jump into a call after dinner before bedtime, similar to what we're doing now, and that they're very supportive. Yeah. So long story short, I trained, I qualified as a coach, and I got my credentials from ICF, and plans were laid by myself, of course, with much prayer, that my business would start in 2020. And then I'll pause here for your next question.
You don't have to pause for questions. We were just having a conversation. We have questions just because we know what we want to
I,
talk
I
about.
just felt I gave too much information as it is.
No, there is no too much
Okay.
information. It's your story. Just share your story. We're just talking about it. But like you said, you wanted to go in 2020, but then 2020 dished out a whole different line of life for us than we had expected.
Yes,
So
yes,
the
yes.
shutdown, I don't know what the pandemic exactly looked like in Singapore. I just know what it looked like here in America. So why don't you even tell us a little bit about that? What did it look like there in Singapore? And then how did all of that
Yeah.
affect you wanting to go into this?
Yeah, I think it's quite similar anywhere globally. At that time, we were thinking, oh, it's just like the flu, right? Let's just wait a month and the two, and then things will go back to normal. And things just got worse. And at that beginning, right, from March 2020, we were in lockdown, everything was shut, the kids were in school. Kids got pulled out from school, and I had to do homeschooling similar to my work. And at the same time, I was making plans to launch the business, and that's when it really took me a lot of prayer and a lot of faith just to
Mhm.
launch it, because I asked God, I waited so long to train as a coach, to qualify as a coach, and you know if this is what you want me to do, I will do it. So it's scary, Danielle. It's not like I did it without thinking. I made
Oh, yeah.
plans and I just went ahead one step at a time. So it was tough. I mean, I didn't it's not like a Hollywood story when you start your coaching business and then you have many clients coming to you. No, there were the starting
It's
point was
not?
really
You
hard,
didn't like have
very
people
hard.
lined up outside your door?
No,
Really?
I wish I did. No, I didn't. I think it took me a good 4 months before I had my first client, and even now it's steady. There are still ups and downs, but it's come a long way. It's already 2 years now. Yeah, so I'm very grateful for that journey. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. What would you say are your biggest obstacles to your coaching business launching? I mean, other than the obvious of the pandemic, but what were the things you really had to deal with inside of yourself that made it hard?
For me, because I'm introverted, I needed to push myself out to talk to people about coaching. I already started doing that when I was training as a coach in 2019. So I could go face to face, talk to people, explain what coaching is and the differences between mentoring and counseling. And then there's also that part to kind of sell, like, oh, why should they come to me as a coach? So it's just putting myself out there and speaking to people. And naturally, as an introvert, I prefer to do one-to-one. So I didn't do, like full blast videos on YouTube. That wasn't my style. So I went one-to-one. So it was a bit slow going. And here in Asia Pacific, I think people don't quite fully understand coaching as much as in the States, although some people have an idea, but they always think, oh, it's career coaching, right? So, Danielle, I'm a life coach. Yes, I can coach you on career related matters, but I believe that it's holistic. If you solve one area of your life in career but the other areas of your life is still being held back by your limiting beliefs, then you still cannot live life to your full potential. So I believe that one should be coached in its entirety, so life as a whole. So when I talk to people about life coaching, they're like, okay, Jenny, what is that? And they thought that it was counseling. So they said, actually, I'm in a good place, I don't have any emotional issues. So I had to take pains to explain to them the difference between counseling and coaching. To put it simply, counseling is, I'm not a trained counselor, so I'm a trained coach, but I'm not a trained counselor. So when I coach my clients, I do hear sometimes when they have a deep rooted emotional issue that just isn't related to one aspect of their life, it goes into all areas. That's when I start to ask them questions whether they are seeing a therapist, because for a counselor, a therapist, they bring the client back to the past to find out what happened and to heal from that emotional pain or trauma. Whereas for a coach, yes, we can coach you on anxiety and stress, but it's more to recognize where you are present day and where would you like to be going forward. So it's to move forward with goals. Yeah.
Awesome. And you also mentioned mentoring. Can you elaborate on that too?
Yeah, so mentoring, a few of my first few clients were younger female attorneys. So they came to me and they thought that I would be a good mentor. So I had to explain. So mentoring is someone who's gone ahead in your profession. So for me, 25 years in law. So they say that, oh, okay, you can share your advice and your experience. So mentoring is more me sharing my advice, my wisdom to you, someone who's younger, and to guide you along. Whereas for coaching, I see myself as your accountability partner. We are equals. I don't need to know what you do from a technical or experience perspective. I just need to be there, providing the safe space, assuring you that, I'm your sounding board and we can brainstorm ideas, and always being there for you when you need someone. Because a lot of times people say that, oh, I can't tell this to my husband or to my wife or to my boss because they all will pass judgment on me. They know me too well. Whereas as a coach, I'm not in your life. So I'm really objective and I don't have an agenda. When you are talking to me, it's not like I'm dying to say something. I just want to listen to what you're saying, and then just to say, okay, I hear you say this, but it seems that although you're saying you're happy, I can see from your face that something is still troubling you about this job. It's like holding up a mirror to yourself,
Mhm.
and so that you can see what you're telling me. And the beauty of it is when it's all said out there, you can't pull it back. So if you tell me that, Jenny, I have some insecurities about this particular project, you said it out there. So your insecurities is out there. So we just see what's going on, what's causing that insecurity.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you for elaborating on that. The coaching, counseling, mentoring, because it's three very distinct things. And sometimes someone might need all three, right?
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely.
So how did you overcome the things that wanted to keep you from starting your business? I mean, what gave you the courage? Like I told them that you're a courageous woman. You did it during the pandemic. I mean, it would be hard to do it when it wasn't a pandemic. And to do it at that time, and dealing with, is it time and all of that? What gave you the courage to actually go forward? You said your family was very supportive, but
That's true.
we need something inside of ourselves, don't we?
Yeah. For me, it was really getting clear on my purpose. So what is my purpose in this coaching business that I've launched? So I believe that is what God has called me into, to touch one person at a time, to get them to see that, what's holding them back is their mindset, their beliefs that they're not good enough, or this can't happen for them. It can happen for this person, but it's not for me. So all these things are in your mind, and sometimes we are trapped by our thoughts. So I just feel very strongly about that, if I can help one person at a time to see their greatest potential, whether you're a believer or a non-believer, you have that higher purpose, and that thing that you're meant to pursue, that passion that you are, you truly embrace. Because when you feel good about yourself and you are positive, you create a positive ripple effect in the people around you, and in turn, I believe that that will cause another ripple effect. We just need to keep going at that. Yeah, so this is what I anchor my thoughts in. So even there are days even now when I feel a bit down, I ask myself, okay, why did I go into coaching? What's my purpose here? And I reflect and I embrace my purpose, and then I pick myself up and get at it again. Yeah.
So how do you help your clients then when they come and they are stumbling over their limiting beliefs you mentioned and their mindsets? How do you help them?
Well, first, if it's a new client, I'll get them to tell me like what you did with me just now, just to tell my story, and talk to them about, hear them say how their story is, and they've come to me with a particular thing that they want to work on. Then we'll talk about what's that issue that they want to work on, and I get them to recognize how successful they already are present day, because a lot of times they'll discount it, especially the female clients I coach. They'll be like, oh, it isn't much, I'm not successful as compared to so and so, or I really don't know why I'm in this position right now, I don't know how I got here. So they're discounting their hard work and their accomplishments. So I get them to recognize their successes and their accomplishment, and I ask them, what's their challenge after, they have to spend time celebrating their successes. What's their challenge? Then they share their challenge, and I ask them, if you could uh, take steps to make this challenge go away or reduce this challenge, what would those steps be? So it's really getting them to think, what would it look like when things are better, or imagine what they want and to work towards that. So I don't want them to be overwhelmed by saying that, oh, it's not going to happen. I get them to dissect it into small steps, and if they take those small steps and celebrate along the way as well, to eventually get to their bigger goal.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. Because then they're actually doing it themselves with
Yes,
your
it's much
guidance
better
through
that
that.
way.
So that will help them to own that even more, because it's not you telling them what to do, like maybe a counselor would do, or maybe a mentor would do. But as a coach, you're getting them to pull it out of their own self, right?
Yes, exactly. And you hit it on the nail there, accountability, right? Ownership, right? So if I would tell you, Daniel, I want you to go and build another company, you'd be like, okay, why? You're not convicted of it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if through our coaching session it comes up that, oh, okay, I want to build this business, but what's holding me back is I'm right now in my comfort zone. So a lot of my clients also are very successful, but they're in the comfort zone, and they're like, there's something missing here. I want to do that. But if I do that, I lose everything in my comfort zone. So I get them to think about it. If 6 months from now you're still in your comfort zone, how would you feel? Then they admit that they would not be happy, or they would be dissatisfied, or they would feel like, I'm wasting my time. Why did I, sit on this for another 6 months? And then I get them excited and connect again with their higher purpose. What is it that they envision themselves doing or being if they really step out of their comfort zone?
Wonderful. So you get them also to cast vision for themselves instead of you casting the vision for them. You get them
Yes.
to cast their own vision so they can imagine that and then they can see it because we go in the direction of where we're thinking.
Yes. And a lot of my clients are really very rational, intellectual people. So they struggle. So I have to start like, okay, what's the most logical route here? Then they'll talk about okay, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. Then I said, okay, but you don't sound very excited when you say you should be doing this. If you could have it your way, suspend all ideas of how to get there. Because they always like to say that they're quite careful because if they envision something, they already want to know how to get there. So I challenge them to say, okay, this is just for fun. This is just between you and me. You don't need to know how to get there, but if you really want, if you really could do what you want, what would that be? And the ideas come up, and you can see how energized they are. And after they really talked about what they want, how does it look like? Then when you ask them, okay, that's what you want at the end of the day, what do you think you can do now to slowly make your way there? And the ideas come up because they've seen it, right? And in the
Hmm.
beginning they thought it's impossible, but because they've seen it so clearly, they now know what little bits, like, oh, okay, I could talk to another person who has run this type of business before, so it's like seeking out a mentor or just brainstorming some ideas, or I could do research on the internet, something small, right? But it gets them going instead of thinking, oh, this can never happen.
Wow, that sounds awesome. So you had on your profile of why do your clients hire you? And what I want to like look at that as not why would they hire a coach, but what is it about you that makes you so unique and wonderful?
Okay, thank you, Danielle. Well, it's strange though, because my first client, she saw the post that I've been putting on LinkedIn, and it was more about introversion and limiting beliefs. And she came to me. So she's like, she's not a friend, she's like a connection of a connection, like 6 degrees of separation. Somehow we
Yeah.
know someone at the third degree somehow. So she said that, oh, Jenny, you don't know me, but I really enjoy reading your post. And then she said, oh, by the way, I'm an extrovert. Is it okay that, we can still talk? Because I put myself out as an introvert who understands introverted female professionals in their challenges at work and on the personal front as well. So she's an extrovert, but I think she needed a quieter person to be her coach. So it's kind of like yin and yang. So that was really great. So why do clients choose me? It could be for a variety of reasons. Some of them chose me because could be because they were looking for a mentor, and they thought that, okay, she's a lawyer, I'm a young lawyer. It starts off like that. Then when I explain the differences between coaching and mentoring, and that's when they say, oh, okay, I like to work with you as a coach. However, if I ask you certain things, then is it okay if you put on your mentoring hat? So I make it very clear. If it's a coaching session, if it's a coaching session, then if they want some mentoring that goes outside the coaching session, I can do that for free, pro bono, because it's not really coaching. So I draw the lines very clear. And some people could reach out to me because I'm a working parent myself. And especially when they have younger kids, so they reach out to me. Although I don't put myself out as a parenting coach, it comes up in the coaching conversation. So Daniel, we are just attracted to the people who can support us at that time of our need. Yeah.
Ah, that's so true that your life will come into your business life, your your personal life. So being a parent, that gives you skills just because it's part of your life. So I see that they would, and being a lawyer also, that would be helpful. And being introverted, I never thought of the yin and yang kind of thing, that someone might want an introverted coach because they're an extrovert. That's very interesting. So thank
Yes,
you for
yes.
sharing that. So
You're
how
welcome.
what's the name of your coaching business? Tell us about the
It's
name of your
it's
coaching business and why did you choose that name?
Okay, sure, Dana. It's River Life Coaching, and I came up with it when I was training as a coach. So one of the things that we have to do to qualify is to write up our coaching model. So that's like your coaching process. So a lot of my peers came up with really nice acronyms. There's the famous one called GROW. I mean, it's not done by any of the students, but GROW is a process that takes you through the goals, the reality, the outcome, and what you need to get there. So I tried doing the acronym thing, it didn't work and I was getting a bit frustrated. I couldn't come up with a fancy acronym. And then I just let it go, and I was praying about it. Then the image of the river came up, and you know the Bible has a lot of explanations about river. They use river as an analogy. So for me, my coaching model is based on the river, and the river is an analogy of your life. So your values are the river source, the source of the river. So from the source, that's how your river flows. So I tell my clients, how is your river of life flowing? Is it flowing smoothly? Is it enriching the, you know, the banks beside the river, or is it blocked, or is it very shallow, or is it murky, or is it rocky, or is it meandering? So that's a good analogy to get them
Wow.
to explain. And I think a lot of us right now, our rivers are like rapids, as in like they're rushing through everything, right? So eventually the river will get to the river delta, and that's where you eventually goes to the ocean. So that is your higher purpose. What's that legacy that you want to leave behind? So I thought that was quite a good illustration of, you know, your life. So I
That's a
decided to
beautiful
name my
picture.
company that. Yeah.
That's a beautiful
Yeah.
picture. So how can
Thank you.
people connect with you if they want to come and hire you? I'm like, oh, I want to talk with Jenny.
Okay, so they can look for me at my website, which is www.riverlifecoaching.com. I'm also on Facebook and LinkedIn, both the business account, River Life Coaching, or Jenny Toh, Toh.
Oh, well, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Daniel, for having me. It's been really fun.
Oh, I enjoyed it too.
Okay.
So much fun, and people need coaches. So I want to just pause here and speak to you listening. If you need this, you reach out to Jenny and hire her to coach you.